Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we are going to talk about the chapter 1 of standard 7, that is nutrition in plants. Before studying about nutrition, we must know what are nutrients. So it is all the components including fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals and carbohydrates that are very essential for any living organisms are called nutrients. So there are three main living organisms on this planet: plants, animals and the humans. So out of the three, the plants are the only living organisms which can prepare their own food. On the other hand, the animals and humans are directly or indirectly dependent on plants for their survival. So plants can make their own food, but they need three main ingredients, that is water, carbon dioxide and different kind of minerals. One might wonder, what is the need for plants of nutrients? The obtained nutrients are used by plants for the following things, like plants need to build their bodies, they need to grow, to repair their damaged parts and to provide energy to carry out life processes. So this is all about nutrients. So what is nutrition? The mode of taking food by an organism and its utilization by the body is known as nutrition. So there are different modes of nutrition. The first is autotrophic. This is a mode of nutrition in which organisms makes their own food. So autotrophic, as the word suggests, it can be divided into two parts. One is auto and another is trophic. Auto means self and the trophic means nourishment, that is self-nourishment. And because plants make their own food, plants are known as autotrophic. Like they are dependent on themselves for their nourishment. So the other mode of nutrition is heterotrophic. The organisms that take in ready-made food prepared by plants are known as heterotrophic organisms. So similarly, as the word heterotrophic suggests, hetero means other and the trophic means nourishment, that is other nourishment. Like the heterotrophic organisms are the one which are dependent on other living organisms for their own nourishment. Animals and humans are perfect example of this, as they are dependent on plants for their food, so they are called heterotrophic. So in the first picture you can see a factory and a field. As you know that these both are the food factories for humans. We get food either from factory or from the field. And in the other picture we can see leaves. So what are they? They are the food factories of the plants, as food for plant is prepared in the leaves. So the food making process in plant is known as photosynthesis. To perform this process, the plant needs several things, like they need water, they need minerals, they need carbon dioxide and sunlight, and they also release oxygen during this process and produce carbohydrates. The carbon dioxide and the sunlight is absorbed directly from the leaves, and even the oxygen is released directly from the leaves, whereas water and minerals are absorbed by the roots from the soil. So one might think that how plant can release or absorb anything directly from their leaves. So here comes the role of stomata. These are small pores-like opening on the surface of leaves which are useful for taking in carbon dioxide and giving out oxygen. And when it is not in use, the guard cells shrunken and closes it. So water and minerals that are obtained from the soil by the plant are transported by the pipe-like structures which run through roots all the way to the leaves, where food is eventually prepared. So after these two things, one can know that how the minerals and water and other things which are needed to plants to perform photosynthesis are transported in it. Okay, now we must know what is chlorophyll. A green pigment which is found in the leaves which captures the energy from the sunlight is known as chlorophyll. Okay. So what is photosynthesis? The energy obtained from the sun is used to convert carbon dioxide and water during the process of photosynthesis. As the synthesis of food occurs in the presence of sunlight, the process is known as photosynthesis. So if we divide the word photosynthesis, the two words come up, that is photo and synthesis. Photo means light and synthesis means to combine. So we can say that sunlight, water and chlorophyll are necessary to carry out process of photosynthesis. The solar energy is captured by the leaves and stored in the plant in the form of food. So the main thing that is needed for plant to perform photosynthesis is sunlight, of course. Thus we can say that sun is the ultimate source of energy for all the living organisms present on the earth. We must also know that chlorophyll is also responsible for the visible green color of the leaves. In the presence of sunlight, chlorophyll containing cells of leaves uses water and carbon dioxide to prepare carbohydrates. We can come to a conclusion as to how food is produced in plants, that is carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll gives us carbohydrate and oxygen. So what happens during photosynthesis? During the process of photosynthesis, oxygen is released and carbon dioxide is absorbed. Also, the carbohydrates gets converted to starch. The presence of starch in the leaves indicates the occurrence of photosynthesis. Note that we can perform iodine tests to check whether the leaf is containing starch in it or not. Carbohydrates consist of carbon, oxygen and hydrogen. Like humans, even plants need fats and proteins like nutrients other than carbohydrates to survive. Protein are nitrogenous substances, so one might wonder that how the plants get nitrogen. Nitrogen is present in abundance in air, but it is in gaseous form. The plants cannot directly utilize nitrogen from air as it can carbon dioxide. Soil has certain bacteria which help in the conversion of gaseous nitrogen to the usable form and release them in the soil. Farmers also use nitrogen-rich fertilizer as an extra supplement for the plants. The plants can make their own food only if they have chlorophyll by the process of photosynthesis. But there are also some plants which do not have chlorophyll. So how do they survive? They opt for the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. There are many plants which are dependent on other plants for their survival. They sometimes climb on other plants to fulfill their nutritional need. The plant on which other plant is dependent is known as a host, and the other plant which deprives the host of valuable nutrients is called a parasite. There are also some plants which are dependent on insects for their survival. The pitcher-like structure is the modified part of the leaf. At the top of this unique plant, you can see a lid-like structure which closes as any insect gets stuck in it. In the picture, there are hair-like formation which lets the insect in very smoothly and at the same time does not let the insect to leave easily. The hair-like structures are in downward inclination due to which the insect gets entangled in the hair while leaving. The insect is digested by the digestive juices secreted in the pitcher itself. Such plants are known as insectivorous plants. Other mode of nutrition is saprotrophic nutrition. The organisms which undergoes this mode of nutrition are known as saprotrophs. The understanding of this type of plants can be made by some of its common examples. One, mushrooms, which are quite common in the rainy season on decaying trees or on ground. And the other one is fungus that develops on bread or chapati when it is left for some days. The organisms that you saw in the previous slides are known as fungi. They secrete digestive juices on the dead and decaying matter and convert them to a solution. The fungi then absorb all the nutrients from it. This mode of nutrition is known as saprotrophic mode of nutrition. The plants which use this mode of nutrition are known as saprotrophs. The fungus even grows on pickles, leathers, and even on our clothes if they are left in hot and humid climate for a long time. So in this way, the fungus harms us and our property in various ways. The fungal spores are present in air and land on surfaces which are warm and wet, and they germinate and grow. Some organisms live together and share shelter and nutrients. These are called symbiotic relationship. One of the simple example of symbiotic relationship is the presence of certain fungi that lives on the roots of trees. This relationship between the tree and the fungus is a give and take relationship in which tree provides nutrients to fungus and in return receives help from it to take up water and nutrients from soil. This relationship is very important for the tree. In lichens, the alga is present, which contains chlorophyll and has the ability to prepare food which it shares with the fungus and in return gets shelter, water and minerals. When plants are grown on a piece of land, they take in a lot of nutrients from the soil, which creates lack of nutrients. To avoid this situation, the farmers spread several manures and fertilizer in their land to fulfill the requirements of the land. These fertilizers provide a supplement of nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, etc. The plants usually require nitrogen as a major supplement. So after the harvest, there is a deficiency of nitrogen in soil. As we all know, the maximum amount of gas present in air is nitrogen. But nitrogen present in air cannot be used directly by the plants. So how nitrogen is replenished in soil? The nitrogen can be converted to usable form by a bacteria known as rhizobium. Rhizobium can convert nitrogen in usable form, but it cannot prepare its own food. So it have to depend on some other plants for own food. Usually rhizobium are found in the roots of gram, peas, mung beans and other legumes and provide them with nitrogen. Most of the pulses are leguminous plants. So farmers do not have to add extra fertilizer or any extra supplement for nitrogen in leguminous plant. So this is the end of the chapter. An overall summary of the chapter is we have learned that most of the plant in our surrounding are autotrophs. Only a few of them adopt other modes of nutrition like parasitic and saprotrophic. All animals and humans are categorized as heterotrophs since they are dependent on plants and other animals for their food. Okay, thank you.